everyone. How are you? Welcome back to the Other Side podcast with me, Janelle. I am on a cruise ship. This is real life. And so if it's coming through, I am grateful for that and the Wi-Fi package that I pay for. I'm really excited because I wanted to make sure I came on today as I committed to doing Mondays at 5:30 Eastern. And today's topic is when you mess up or make a mistake, everybody sees it. Then what happens? I don't know. This is probably a lot of people's like worst nightmare, right? For that to happen. I can tell you, I recently did something similar where I took a risk. I thought it was well thought out and made several plans, made my decision, moved forward, and then it did not work out as planned. And several of my students commented on it, and I basically recognized that what they got to see was me and one of my colleagues try something, and it totally flopped. We took too much of a leap. Let's just say that. And the feeling that I had was like, man, like that was a failure, and all these people saw it. Like worst nightmare ever when you make a mistake and then so many people actually see you make that mistake. And I know we talk about this in my book, and if you haven't gotten it yet, please go ahead and do. But we talk about like guilt is I did something bad, where shame is I am bad. And I really quickly went into a shame spiral where it wasn't like, oh, I did something bad or I made a mistake. It was like, I am a mistake. I'm a failure. I did all these things, or not even did these things. It was kind of like identifying. I was identifying with myself as being a failure, as being a horrible person, what's wrong with me. All of those thoughts started to like swing in my head. And one of the things that I taught last week was in order to get out of that shame-based thinking is to have a life, right? So become aware, right? Certainly I was very aware. L is for looking within. I was definitely looking within, trying to figure out, all right, I know I have these messages going on in my head. How can I get out of them? And I love that I is identifying the trigger. Already knew what the trigger was, right? It was complete failure in front of all of these people looking on. F is find your good mirrors. And that to me was more important than I ever realized. I basically reached out to people who I trusted and I was like, I just need you to tell me I'm a good person, because I am in my head telling myself I'm a failure, I'm awful. How could I do such a thing? And I'm not saying that the thing that I did was not bad. It was, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I am now a bad person because of it, right? And so I just needed someone to remind me of who I was. And that is what your good mirrors are. The people who will listen to you recognize that you're going through a shame spiral, and it's okay. They are okay with reminding you who you are, right? And so I'd shout out to all of the good mirrors that spoke to me within the past week. You were super helpful for me. And so I just want to encourage anyone out there who can relate to this. Like if you can relate to doing something, messing up, and a lot of people you seeing you mess up, right? Like that thing that you tried just did not work out. If that is you, if you have ever experienced that, and you know, like how one mortifying, right? You almost want to like crawl in a hole and like dig and like hide yourself. But two, I mean, you may start to identify yourself as a person doing a bad thing or making a bad decision. And so I just highly recommend you find your good mirrors. Find people who can remind you who you are.